We have another young Indian with us today as part of the Voice of the Young segment. Hello, everyone. Today we have with us Rhea Ann Mathew. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Rhea.
First of all, thank you, sir, for giving me this platform. So I'll just start with a basic introduction of myself. Then I'll talk about how my journey has been. Basically, I'm a Kerala-born Delhiite. I've never lived in Kerala, but I speak the language at home. And I've lived in Delhi most of my life, although I've stayed in Hyderabad for 5 years of my schooling. Then I did my graduation from St. Stephen's College in Economics Honors. And then I moved on to work at Lord's Wholesale Solutions as a category manager. Then afterwards, I took a year gap. And then I'm doing my MBA at IMI. So I'm specializing in finance and minoring in analytics. And I aim to go for finance for my future.
Okay. All right, let's continue.
Sure. So during my graduation, I was very clear that I wanted to pursue economics in the future as well. My plan was that I'll go for maybe a master's in London School of Economics or any other good university, but that was my top aim because I was really into the idea of economics. I loved the subject, especially in school. The teacher who was teaching me economics also quite encouraged me also. She felt that I had potential in this subject and I should take it forward. But somehow the interest shifted after I finished my first year in Stephens. That's when I realized that maybe I should explore other options as well. That's when I felt that maybe instead of economics, I should go for an MBA, which is why I decided to not pursue a career in economics because I felt that was not suitable for me going forward. Although I think it was a right decision to go with economics as a degree, but I wouldn't have done justice to myself if I continued it for my master's, which is why I feel like MBA was the right choice and I still stick with it.
Okay. So
And
go ahead. Sorry. No, sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
but within my undergrad, I decided to utilize all the opportunities that presented to me. So I faced quite a few rejections also, but instead of making it a big deal, I try to see that if there are anything else that suits me or which I can make use of. There was a lot of competition back then, which it was a bit difficult to comprehend because back in school the environment was very different, and in college I got a very big shock because everyone was a topper. They had something else to back it up with, and I felt that it was too competitive and it was just difficult to cope up. But I was like, if others can do something, I might be able to do something else. So that's what I focused on. So I decided to do some internships, which will give me some focus on what to do. So I did a marketing and HR internship. Then I worked at an NGO also. So that gave me some idea as to how I can move forward. That was how I made my decision that, okay, I should go for an MBA rather than maybe continue with economics. And so even though I had some of the creative side, because I was also the chief editor of my yearbook. And that was a quite interesting experience because I had
Yearbook
to do a
where? In yearbook
in
where?
Stephens itself.
Okay, Stephen.
That was the college magazine.
Yeah.
So we just had to make sure that the content was right and the team was managed well, and even the design part. Basically, it's like the president kind of a position, but the role was named as chief editor. That was also an interesting role. But so everyone thought that maybe even in MBA, I might go for a marketing. Initially, that was the thought that even I had. But then later, I realized that maybe finance would be a better option because marketing involves a lot of interaction with people, understanding consumer behavior, and there is a lot of extroverted side to it, which was not there in my DNA, you could say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I thought maybe in the long run, I may not be able to do marketing. And that's why I thought that maybe finance would work well for me because it's not that I was like, okay, finance it's finance, so you'll have to be super duper smart or something. But I think it's mostly logic based. If you can understand maths, you can do finance as well. It's not
Okay.
like okay, it's too difficult or something.
All right. Okay. So what happened after college? Where did you work?
Yeah, so I worked in a company called Lots Wholesale Solutions. This was a cash and carry company. They worked with retailers and the major suppliers like major FMCG companies and other non-FMCG companies as well. And they acted as a middleman between these companies and the retailers and Horeca businesses as well. So it was a B2B firm, but they also sold to end consumers, but those consumers were very limited. So here I was hired as a management trainee,
So
and
did you really want this kind of a role, or this is the job you got? I'm just curious.
it to an extent it was what I wanted
Okay.
because it was related to marketing a bit because it wasn't an FMCG company, but I got to work with those kind of companies. So I got
Yeah.
to understand space, and that was what I wanted back then.
Okay.
Because even during my final placements at Stephens, Marico had come for placements, and I had given the aptitude test, but I couldn't clear it. But I really wanted to go for that. It was my dream company. Although most of my peers wanted to go into McKinsey, BCG, and Bain, this was my dream company, but I couldn't crack it. So that felt bad. So even though McKinsey and BCG was not easy for me, but that didn't affect me as much as Marico affected. So when I got into lots, I was still happy that okay, even if I didn't get a direct entry into an FMCG, I'll still be able to understand the space in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, after 1 year, I realized that I would not be able to clear CAT or GMAT if I continue working it because it was more like a 24-hour work life.
Yeah.
Even though you were working from say 9 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, depending on whenever there, you're still on call. You might get a message sometime in the late night or if not late night, but at least 9 o'clock or something which you might have to sort out by some call or message, something of that sort. But that's not an everyday business, but somehow it's there. And my thinking was that I would still get somewhat disturbed if this continues while I'm preparing for my exams. And I had 1 year of work ex by the time I quit the company. So I thought it was safe to just take a gap year and focus fully on my MBA preparation. And that's how I decided that okay, I'll take the gap year. I'll explore however whichever colleges I want to go to, do my research properly, and I'll prepare well.
Okay.
So I gave the GMAT, and which was quite tough because I had to give it 3 times, and I still didn't get the score that I needed.
Okay.
But the good thing was that I still got into IMI, which is something that I'm really happy about.
What is
Even though
IMI? Excuse my ignorance. What is IMI?
it's International Management Institute. It's in New Delhi.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I'm just ignorant. It has nothing to do with what it is. It's just that I don't live in India I haven't lived for a long time. So I don't know all the things that go on. So after the gap year, you got into IMI and you are still there, right?
yeah, I'm in my second year right now.
Okay. And what is it that you are focusing on?
Right now, since I'm in my second year, I'm focusing on my placements in finance. So I've started preparing for the interviews and the aptitude tests. That's my main focus. But it's just that I also have to focus on my the knowledge base that I'm gaining. Because whatever is taught in class, that is obviously important for the interview purpose, and also we are being encouraged to prepare beyond the curriculum. So the main idea is to increase my knowledge base so that this helps not just for the short term purposes like an interview or a group discussion, but also for the long term career prospect, so that we know how to handle a job. Because as an entry level professional, it is expected that your knowledge is good, so that you know what you're doing, and then based on that only you will get your promotions and everything, and after that your leadership skills and management skills will come into play.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So I don't want to ask what specific company, but what kind of companies I can ask, I guess. What kind of companies are you looking at or dreaming about?
So I can say I prefer working in a bank actually, and but even otherwise, the main aim is to go for say investment banking or private equity. Although I have a feeling that it's possible that I may not get it in the first attempt itself, that maybe I won't get it through campus, but later on I might shift after a couple of years. And also, I'm not very specific on these type of companies because it's too early to decide on that and just fixate myself there. So I'll get some experience in whichever good company I get, and then I will take a call after a few years.
Sounds like a very pragmatic approach. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to tell us about yourself or your hobbies? Anything else that's of interest to all of us?
Yes. So when I joined my B school, IMI, so we were encouraged to apply to a lot of these clubs and committees that are there in B schools, which are a very big part of the learning of every student here. So, like everybody else, I had also applied to the committees and clubs of my interest. But the thing is, I didn't get selected, but I was obviously distraught because everyone had already created this kind of a image that okay, you need to be in at least one. Rather, okay, there was a rule that you can only be part of one, but there was this thing that if you're not part of it, then you're probably losing out.
Yeah.
And that's there not just in this B school, it's there in every education institute. Like it was there in Stephens, it was there in IMI, it's probably there in other institutes as well. So that affected me for a short duration, but I refused to make that a big deal after a certain point because, like I said earlier, if one opportunity doesn't is not right for you, there are others out there which you have to make use of. Then I realized that there are some of these corporate competitions and B school competitions that I can focus on. Initially, I didn't know how to crack them. We had to clear some quizzes to clear it, right?
Yeah.
So initially, it was just difficult because I wasn't clearing most of them. So I spoke to an alumni about this. So he told me a trick to clear it, and I don't want to reveal that here.
Okay, don't.
So, but then later I figured out an easier way instead of using that. And I was like, okay, this was just way more simple than I thought. So you don't need to know each and every answer, but you need to just move forward for whatever questions you have. Because there was a point of accuracy that they consider and also the time taken for each question.
Yeah.
So because of that, if you know the answer, spend time on it. If you don't know the answer, just mark something and move on. That's the only option I had, and that worked for me. And I I cleared some of the quizzes and won a few competitions. That gave me a sense of accomplishment because I thought, okay, even if a POR is not there, it's not a big deal because I was gaining something out of it. I was learning a lot. It's not just academics that matters, right? You're learning beyond your classroom also matters. And this was great because I was learning how to give presentations and understanding what other participants are doing. So whenever you're seeing how they are presenting, what all slides that they're using, what pointers they are putting out for the same case that is given, that matters because sometimes their solutions are better, so you can learn from them what ideas are out there that you'd never thought of. So that was just not just surprising, but also great learning experience. That
Okay.
was a big highlight of my B school experience. That even right now I'm participating, and I think this is something that I'll carry with me.
Okay, wonderful. So you found your own solution.
Yeah.
You didn't let the, let us say, apparent failure, you turned it into something that say, okay, if this doesn't work, let me find the solution here. And you found it, or at least you are confident that you have found it.
Yeah, this work, it's just about finding something that works for you and makes you happy. You
Okay.
just have to make yourself feel fulfilled.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So you are feeling fulfilled. I'm happy to note that. Okay. Not many people are able to say that, but you are. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about that you enjoyed or you hated in your college, either in Delhi or in IMI, something that could spark other people to join IMI or something, whatever it is that's on your mind.
So I think a lot of it has. I think there was one mistake that I've done in Stephens that I didn't repeat in IMI that I think I should talk about, that
Yeah.
a lot of people should know about.
Yeah.
So my parents used to tell me that if you have a doubt in on anything, or you need help with something, you need to ask someone about it. As in, you can ask your friends, you can ask your other classmates, or literally anybody else,
Yeah.
anybody who you think that can help you.
Yeah.
But somehow in during my graduation, I had a certain insecurity because so I wasn't doing very well academically back then. So I thought that I was somehow inferior than the others, and I shouldn't really approach them about anything.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to have a conversation about academics with them.
Yeah.
So if I actually had a doubt, I wouldn't approach anyone from my class. Even
Yeah.
if I had a career related doubts, I wouldn't even approach my seniors.
Yeah.
This I think was a big mistake that I did,
Okay.
because if I didn't do that, I might have at least if I actually approached my classmates or my seniors, things would have been different. Like it may have been better, it could have been worse, but I would have gotten a new perspective regarding my career, regarding my academic knowledge, regarding anything. But somehow later on, I realized that everyone has their own battles. There is something that everyone is missing in terms of, say, academic knowledge or career related opinions, anything. So everyone can help each other out by sharing each other's knowledge out. But because of the competition and everything, I thought that maybe no one will help me, and
Okay.
nobody want my help also,
Yeah.
because I was like, what do I have to offer, even though
Yeah.
that was not true.
Yeah.
So but in by the time I reached IMI, I thought that maybe that was not true. I should at least open up to people and see what is out there. So somehow that, I don't know how this changed, but I just started opening up,
Good.
and it worked well for me. I
Okay.
reached out to an alumni for just a B school competition thing, and it worked for me because that is when I started giving uh, quizzes for B school competitions. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even bothered about this,
Okay.
and that just changed my entire B school experience till now. And apart from that, I've also spoken to someone regarding, say, a CV review. This person I did not know at all. He wasn't even connected to me on LinkedIn. But I just clicked on his top mate, then sent a connection request, and I got a really good idea about how to create a CV, how to give interviews, and everything. So that also helped me a lot. So it wasn't just that, okay, you just have to maybe connect with people in your college, or stick to that. Whoever you find is suitable, just have a conversation with them. Maybe things will get better for you. You will at least get something to think more about. Otherwise, you're just stuck with your own perspective and your own experiences. When you have somebody else to talk to or give you an advice, you are given a choice to think, to uh, follow their path or your path, or follow, say, a mix of both.
Yeah.
This has been quite helpful for me. So I think everyone should try that.
Well, that's wonderful advice. I'm really glad that you are so open and honest about your own successes, obviously, and yet the frustrations or failures that you faced and how you dealt with it. I think it's very helpful. I hope it is. I don't know whether it is, but I hope it's very helpful and useful for the juniors who may be watching it later. That look, nobody is there who has no failures. Failures are there for all of us, and we have to find a way to deal with it or live with it or whatever. And you have shown us how you have done it. So, really, it's very uh, extroverted of you, if I may put it, to share your difficulties, and to say honestly that I couldn't make it by the conventional way or this way or that way. But so what? I've made it another way. And that, I think, is very good advice. I usually don't comment on what people say, but here I feel that I should say I always have a plan B. Always have a plan B. And plan B is not inferior to plan A. You can just call it plan A1 and plan A2.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So that is nothing is inferior. Okay. All right. That's very, I'm so happy that you have been here with an open mind. And anything else you want to add?
Actually, nothing that I can think of,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, this is all that I had to say because most of my successes and failures have been based on this thing of, okay, I have to move from economics to say a job and then an MBA. And frankly, the guidance was a bit limited, but I had my parents' support, at least when it came to my graduation or say doing a job right after graduation and then taking a gap year and then uh, going for an MBA at IMI. Because even the gap year decision was not an easy one because even in Indian society or even outside India, it's not looked upon fairly. As in, people are like, why are you taking a gap year? At least in India, the idea is to just complete your education in one go.
Yeah.
So everyone, even when you're in your final year, the pressure is that you have to write some sort of entrance exams for masters, let's say CAT or something for JNU or DSC when I was in my final year. So everyone was preparing for that. Although I was a bit clueless as to whether I should prepare or what I should do because somehow I was very stressed during that point of time. But I feel like even if you're not very sure of it, I don't think people should be very stressed about it because you're barely 21, 22. You have your whole life ahead of you. Even if you're not very sure, just take a moment, step back, and just think what you want to do, and then make a whole road map. If you think you can't do it right now, that's okay. Take some time out and start it later. So yeah, I had my parents' support for this, taking a gap year and then doing it in a better, more focused manner. So I think it's not a problem if you take a decision like that. Although it was very difficult back then, but right now, if I look back and see, I think it was a great decision because it worked out in my favor. That's one thing, and also, um, it just made me a bit more calmer in a mental state as well. Because if I was doing it with my job and or maybe even if I was doing it during my final year of undergrad, I don't think things may have worked out very well. Maybe
Okay.
my academics would have been okay, but again, the I may not have cleared the entrance also. It's
Okay.
possible.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Rhea. It's been a pleasure to listen to you. And thank you so much for being so open and saying things that perhaps people don't want to say in public. And here it is, you are saying you are introvert, but I tell you, I have not seen anyone sharing so much so openly without prodding. So again, let me thank you. And maybe we'll catch up with you in 1 year to see where you land, bank or non-bank or whatever it is. Till then, let's say bye to the viewers, and I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Till then, bye everybody.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So